Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Prakash Kulkarni's lectures. In the part 1 of unit 2, we learnt about northern mountains and northern Great Plains. Now let us study part 2 of unit 2 of geography titled India Physiography. Physiographic divisions of India. Human activities like agriculture, industries, transport, distribution of population, etc., are based on a variety of landforms such as mountains, plateaus, plains, valleys, and coastal plains. These have influence on the river system, climate, natural vegetation, etc. On the basis of landforms, India can be divided into four major divisions. They are: the first one is the northern mountains, the second one is the northern Great Plains, the third one is the peninsular plateau, and the last one is the coastal plains and islands. In this video, we will be covering peninsular plateaus and coastal plains and islands, that is third and fourth points, major divisions. The peninsular plateau. This is the largest physical division of India. It is the oldest landmass. It was a part of the Gondwana land that existed some 300 million years ago. It lies to the south of Great Plains and occupies about 16 lakh square kilometers. It is roughly triangular in shape and its apex is formed by Cape Kanyakumari in the southern extremity. Now you can see the map of India. You can see inverted triangle here. Please study whenever there is a map. Study carefully. Now let us come to this. The peninsular plateau lies southern part of Tropic of Cancer, that is 23.5 degree north latitude. This plateau is bounded by many hills and plateaus, namely the Aravalli range. It is in the northern part, and south of it is the Vindhyas. South of the Vindhyas is the Satpuras, and towards west you can see the Western Ghats. Towards east you can see the Eastern Ghats. Then the Chota Nagpur Plateau you can see on the map, and the Deccan Plateau and the Malwa Plateau. The Malwa Plateau is between the Aravalli range and Vindhya range. Now let us study one by one. Now the first one is the Aravalli range is the oldest fold mountain range and lies to the northwest of the peninsular plateau. You can see there it is printed, the Aravalli on the map. Guru Shikhar is the highest peak on the above hills of the Aravalli range. Now coming to the Vindhyan range flanks the northern edge of Narmada river. So you can see just south of Vindhyas there is a blue line. That blue line indicates the Narmada river. And the Satpura runs in the east-west direction, and it is south of the Vindhyas, that is between Narmada and Tapi river or Tapti river. The Western Ghats. Have a look at the map here. Only western side of the Indian map is shown here. You can see they are continuous range running parallel to the west coast of India from the Tapi valley to Kanyakumari. They are very steep on the western side and gentle on the eastern side. Borghat, Talghat, and Palghat are important passes across the Western Ghats. South of the Palghat Gap, the Western Ghats continue as Annamalai, the Palani, and the Cardamom Hills. Annamudi in the Annamalai Hills is the highest peak in South India. Please note that Annamudi peak may be asked to locate on Indian map. Coming to the Eastern Ghats, the eastern part of India, you can see there towards the extreme east there is Bay of Bengal. Now they run almost parallel to the east coast of India. They extend from the Mahanadi Valley in the north to the Nilgiri Hills in the south, where they join the Western Ghats. They are lower than the Western Ghats and not continuous. The highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is Armakonda. The Deccan Plateau is bounded by the Satpura Range and the Vindhyas in the northwest, the Western Ghats in the west, the Eastern Ghats in the east, and the Mahadev and the Maikal ranges in the north. The Chota Nagpur Plateau lies in the northeastern part of the peninsula. Here one question is generally asked: distinguish between the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. You please remember these three letters H, C, C. The Western Ghats are higher, H for higher. C. The Western Ghats are continuous. Third C. They are closer to the sea, H, C, C. The opposite of these, the Eastern Ghats are not higher, they are not continuous and not closer to the sea. By writing this, you can score 3 marks in the exam. The importance of the peninsular plateau. It is rich in minerals, thick forests and biodiversity. It has influence on southwest monsoons. It is covered with black soil which is useful for agriculture. The Western Ghats are birthplace of South Indian rivers. Rivers are useful for the generation of hydroelectricity. It is also well known for hill stations such as Ooty. Now we can see the importance of the peninsular plateau one by one. The first one is it is rich in minerals, thick forests and biodiversity. You can see pictures here. First one is about minerals, second thick forests, third biodiversity. The second importance of peninsular plateau is it has influence on southwest monsoons. You know already you have studied June to September is the period of southwest monsoon. When the southwest monsoon winds are blowing from Arabian Sea, these Western Ghats check and cause rainfall. India gets almost 75% of rainfall during this period. So this way this peninsular plateau has got its own importance. Next one is it is covered with black soil which is useful for agriculture. Particularly black soil is good for cotton growing. Next one is the Western Ghats are birthplace of South Indian rivers. Now you have seen the Mahanadi river, you can see on the map, Godavari river, Krishna river, Kaveri. They are joining Bay of Bengal, and still north Narmada and Tapti, they are joining the Arabian Sea. These rivers take birthplace on the plateau, that is peninsular plateau. Next one is rivers are useful for the generation of hydroelectricity. It is also well known for hill stations such as Ooty. So summer resort centers they are. People go to summer resort centers during summer season in India. The last physical division is the coastal plains and islands. The plateau of peninsular India is fringed by coastal plains on either side. It extends from the Ran of Kutch, that is in Gujarat, you can see on the map, to the delta of the Ganga in the east. So Ganga delta is in the West Bengal. So from Kutch to Ganga delta, this is a coastal area or plain. The coastal plain can be divided into two parts. So one is the western coastal plain towards west of India. Another one is the eastern coastal plain. It is eastern part of India facing Bay of Bengal. Coming to the western coastal plain, it lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. So you can see very well. It extends from Ran of Kutch to Kanyakumari. You can see in Gujarat state, you can see Kutch is mentioned there. From Kutch to extreme south, Kanyakumari is there. So it extends from Ran of Kutch to Kanyakumari. It is narrow, steep and rocky. It can be divided into three parts. The Konkan coast, which lies to the south of Gujarat plain, extends from Daman to Goa. You can have a look at the map here. So southern part of Gujarat to Goa. The Karnataka, which extends from Goa to Mangalore. On the map you can see Goa and also Mangalore. So this coast between Goa and Mangalore is called as the Karnataka coast. And south of Mangalore is the Malabar coast. The Malabar coast which extends from Mangalore to Kanyakumari. Coming to the eastern coastal plain, it extends from north of river Subarnarekha to Kanyakumari. On the map you can see the extreme northern part, there is Subarnarekha river, that is in West Bengal. From there to extreme southern part Kanyakumari, so that is the stretch of eastern coastal plain. It is between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. Many rivers have formed deltas. Deltas means the rivers come and join the ocean, so that is called a delta. We have the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri are the major deltas in the eastern coastal plain. The eastern coastal plain is divided into two parts. One is the northern Sarkar. Second one is the south of it is Coromandel. The northern Sarkar means the north of river Krishna. On the map you can see a black dot. There Krishna Delta it is mentioned. North of Krishna Delta up to Subarnarekha river in West Bengal, that coastal plain is called northern Sarkar. And south of Krishna Delta to Kanyakumari, that coastal plain is called Coromandel coast. What is a lagoon? A lagoon is a salt water lake. That means rivers come and join the ocean, that is a mixing of salt and sweet water. So generally they are salt water lakes. Some lagoons are formed in the eastern coastal plain. They are Lake Chilka, it is in Orissa, it is mentioned on the map you can see. Lake Pulicat, it is in Tamil Nadu, and Lake Kolleru, it is in Andhra Pradesh, where river Godavari and Krishna join the Bay of Bengal. Between two rivers delta there is Kolleru lake. The importance of the coastal plains. The coastal plains provide natural harbors which help in foreign trade. They are useful for agriculture. They are useful for production of salt. The coastal plains are useful for fishing, shipbuilding. Many beaches are found. They attract tourists. The backwaters are useful for navigation, particularly in Kerala. Now, have a look at the photographs here and study the importance of the coastal plains so that you can remember. Dear students, definitely the importance of either Greater Plains or the Deccan Plateau or the coastal plains, one or the other, four physical divisions will be asked in the examination. So, just to keep it in memory, the photos have been given here. The coastal plains provide some natural harbors which help in foreign trade. They are Kandla, it is in Gujarat; Mumbai, it is in Maharashtra; Marmagova, that is in Goa; Kochi in Kerala; Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh; and Kolkata in West Bengal. Second, the coastal plains are useful for agriculture. You can see some people are planting the paddy crops. They are useful for production of salt. So salt is manufactured. You please remember Dandi March by Gandhiji in history. Then many beaches are found which attract tourists. They are the tourist places. Next, they are useful for fishing. It is one of the major activities along the coastal plains. They are useful for shipbuilding. You can see Cochin, Vishakhapatnam. So we have shipbuilding activities there. Then we have the backwaters are useful for navigation. They are called inland navigation. You are going to study in detail in the transportation chapter of geography. They are coming to islands of India. Now please see there are two groups of islands. There are about totally 247 islands in India. They are in two groups. One is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. There are altogether 204 islands in the Bay of Bengal and they are formed by volcanoes. The Lakshadweep Islands, there are 43. They are in the Arabian Sea and are formed by corals. Now you can see the Lakshadweep Islands are in the Arabian Sea and are formed by corals. In this episode, we have studied the remaining two physical divisions of India. With this, we conclude this episode. Thank you. Please like and share this video. Subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get updates on new videos. Thank you once again.